What about, here we are at this dinner and Marysol asked this question, who would you trust the least? I mean, is this shady? I mean, like how does that question, how is there any positive resolve from a question like that?
My girl Marysol, she was stirring the pot, stirring it. I mean, she's good at that. I think, she's clever and she's good at that. I mean, I wasn't there for it. And honestly, I was saying that if I was there, it would have gone a completely different route, I think, because it's time stamped. You're talking about something that happened before she even met these people. So why are we even talking about it now? Like, I would have kind of like questioned that whole content, like moving on, unless you got actual receipts, move along, nothing to see here, people,
You think if you were there, you could have like resolved this?
That would not have dragged on the way it did. And the thing is that everyone else stayed silent. I couldn't have stayed silent. And it's funny because people are like, oh, Guerdy's so sweet. And I am sweet. And Guerdy's she's not like, she's not confrontational. What? you just saw more professional Guerdy this time around because naturally I was on the planning mode. But other Guerdy, it's not what you think at all. I have I was known. I was the girl that they used to call back when I was in France to go beat up the guys who used to make fun of other people. Like they'd be like, okay, I'm gonna call Guerdy on you. Oh, I will confront you. I have no problems with that at all. Yeah.
So if someone comes for you in the future, you have no problems?
Absolutely not. But I'm nice and I'll smile and I'll tell you, yeah, but it's gonna go down the way it goes down, but it's not, it's not gonna be just me taking it laying down. No.
Right. Well, I mean, what about if you were at this dinner and you had to speak up? Who would you have said you trust the least?
I would have played the game is the question, right? So you never know, right? But I all these kind of scenarios and what if and who would you have? It's just like recipe for conflict. So I don't know. I'm not conflict driven, so that's just me. And so I don't know if I would have even played the game. I don't know.
That makes sense. You're not conflict driven. You're working. And if someone comes at you, you'll stick up for yourself. I'm totally the same way. I'm not going to come for you first, but if you come for me,
ring a ling a ling. When I said the reunion, I'm like, honey, you want to ring this doorbell? Ring it good, So yeah, for sure.
And just ring it once, because that's all you need to do, right?
That's right.
What about, did you learn anything this season from Larsa? I mean, did you learn anything about OnlyFans?
Well, I may explore OnlyFans, obviously not for, not for this. I feel like she said, I think we need to watch what happens. She goes, well, Guerdy's so conservative and I don't dress like so showy and stuff, but I think that I would do it for the professional side. I think it's actually clever in a way to be like, okay, you want to know how I set this table up and, see the back of the house, I don't know how I did that behind the scenes, OnlyFans. And then somebody, clicks and you get a, upgrade to pay to see the inside details, so that's actually a clever concept for sure. And I think that now it actually evolves into professional, like actual chefs out here and all that stuff. So you never know what the future holds. I don't throw rocks over there when, I need to worry about my own self, so that's how I am. Yeah.
Did you learn anything else from Larsa this season? I mean, like you watched the first three, What did you learn?
Yeah, she's her motherhood skills. I watched her in Sophia, and the way Sophia really grasps onto her as her role model, like they're the cutest thing together. In the Hamptons is when I got to observe that, and I worked with Sophia to set up the set, the jewelry for Larsa. And it's funny how like she's obsessed with her kids, and it's the cutest thing to watch. Like, that's literally her number one thing. It's like, oh my God, and this one here, and Scotty Jr. is, Vanderbilt, and they're playing, basketball. Sophia's modeling. Like, she's really about that life. It's like, I feel like for Larsa, it's like she shows one side of her, but she's also a lot of other things. And I think people just want to like focus on just the visual, and it's just not all about that. But it's clever actually of her. She's a smart girl.
She is a smart girl, and right, everyone has this misconception of her that she's one thing, and it's like she has 4 children that she's dedicated to people.
And they speak 4 languages.
Wow.
So yeah.
What about, we saw this tension between Larsa and Adriana come to a boil, which continued over into the reunion. Mm-hmm. I mean, why is Adriana so obsessed with Larsa's ex-friendship with Kim Kardashian?
So obsessed with me? I want to know too. I don't understand the ongoing, and it started from day one. So if it just started out of nowhere and she was nice and all of a sudden they have a disagreement, that's one thing. But it was so calculated just from the beginning that her goal was get Larsa. And for what? Because she left and moved somewhere else to better her life, whatever she was doing. And by the way, I feel like Larsa's been with Scottie Pippen for a very long time. And I feel like people see her relationship with the Kardashians as like just one way road, like, oh, they put her on. Then if you go backwards, I guess overall in years, I'm like, if she's been with this guy for 25 years, wasn't it like kind of like a win-win? Because he already had the doors open to VIP everything. So think about it. And remember, Kim K was, with Paris Hilton, she was just developing her brand. I feel like it's unfair on how people act like she was the one that was, an opportunist when I don't see it that way. I feel like it was just two girls that got it going on, got together, the whole thing. So whatever happened in LA, I'm not interested in right now because she's back in the 305 and I'm only interested in what our relationship is like, to date. But yeah, I think that Adriana really kind of she was on one this season. I don't know what it was, but she's obviously going through something because she came for me. She came for, for a few other girls. So I don't know. Hope she realized this, and comes. Yeah.
And you can tell, like, even though we didn't see it till later in the season, like you could tell this, like, what wasn't shown on TV, like Adriana was talking, like, was she talking about like the Kardashians right from the get-go of like,
I wasn't around her enough to hear little hearsay. She said it was on the confessionals. It's like she didn't have any problems like making it the forefront of literally the content of those conversations. So it was like her focus. It was literally a theme. The confessionals were all themed after what's Larsa doing now. So it's kind of like, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
and to your point, right? She was married to Scottie Pippen and had a certain lifestyle when Kim even didn't, in a sense.
Yeah. So you got to look at the overall picture, but of course, if you're going to be friends with someone who literally is the number one, social media favorite, etc., it's all about their story. You know what I mean? So it's hard. Larsa is having, I think, is going to have a hard time just kind of pulling away from that because it's a detachment that's really hard to pull apart when everybody just sees you as Kim's best friend. And it's unfortunate because she's other things, but I just feel like, she's stuck in this one thing and she'll find her way out for sure. But right now, every question is almost like about that. And that's annoying. Like, I'm like, please, can we move on? I'm bored, so.
And to your point, right, like as her out there, like this is a show to do press and this is what people want to ask. It's kind of like, I'm not friends with that person anymore. Like, it's the same question that's been asked. It's got to be annoying when it's you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's got to be. So, I mean, you don't, right, don't understand Adriana's obsession with that friendship, going away for 10 years, having an ass that apparently is, she's just obsessed, I feel, Adriana.
I don't know.
Who do you think will reconcile first, Nicole and Marysol,